into the vocabulary.
Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to show you how to work on your very own VRChat Avatar. So without further ado, let's get on to it. Alright, so first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need Creator Companion. So this is my list of projects that I have in Creator Companion. In the link below will be the description on where you can pick up Creator Companion. And you can follow the guide on the website to figure out how to install it and how to get your Unity packages. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new project. Okay. What you'll have up top is templates. These templates are for Unity 2022 for a World project. You have Unity 2022 for Avatar project, and you have the Unity 2019 versions for Avatar and World projects. Since we are going to be doing a Avatar, we are going to use Unity 2022. Now, the only reason why you change between one or the other is based on the avatar you're working with. So please be sure to check the description of the avatar you're working with to see which Unity version you are using. We're going to call this Vaki Vulper, since there's a new update for it, 2.04. And then we're going to hit create project. And we'll give this a minute to load here. All right, so now you have your package list here. What we're going to want is Gesture Manager. We're going to install the newest version, which currently is 3.9.3. We're going to give that a minute. We're going to grab Audio Link, which the current version is 2.0. VRC Fury, which is an absolutely must needed package. And then I've got other tools. These packages here. Don't worry if you don't see them on your Creator Companion. These are additional ones I've installed to optimize avatars. If you do not have the Pro version of Pyomi, you can go on their website and they have a option to link Pyomi Toon Shader straight into your Creator Companion, so it's always up to date. But I use Pyomi Pro and I have to import the project. We're going to click Open Project. And thanks to the luxury of editing, you'll see this load in much quicker than I have to see it. All right, now that Creator Companion has launched our Unity project, it's going to compile some scripts here. I'm going to grab my folder with all my necessary stuff. And the first plugin I'm going to install Unity package file. The first one I'm going to install is Pyomi. So I'm going to drag Pyomi Pro 9.2.6, which is the current version, and I'm going to throw it into my asset folder. Now, by default, your asset window is down here. I have rearranged mine to be on the side, but that is based on my personal preference. So I'm going to drag that in there. It's going to come up with a pop-up after it prepares the package. So you get a pop-up. These are all the files that are included in the package. You don't have to worry about anything in this list. All you got to do is click import. It'll import the project. This may take a bit depending on your computer's performance. Okay, now that Pyomi is installed, well, mostly installed, it's still loading a little bit here. The next thing you're going to want to bring in is your avatar. Now, the reason why we put the Pyomi shader in first, or whichever shader you use, whether it's Mochi, Little Toon, whatever the case is, you want to import that first, just so you have the newest version installed. Because sometimes your avatars will come with shader settings already on them, and if you put your avatar in first and then you try to update your shader, it may scream and yell at you. So it's always best to import your shader first before doing anything else. And as I was saying earlier, if you want to move your project stuff, so this is my project tab, you can drag it anywhere you want it to be. But again, I like it over here. But that's just my personal preference. All right, so I'm going to grab my Vulper file. I'm which is the Vulper 2.04 Ice Edition. Drag that right into the asset folder. And again, we'll wait for the pop-up for import. And then we'll import the file. And again, this may take a bit depending on your computer's performance. And thanks to editing, you guys don't get to see how long this takes. All right, so now our model is imported. Now, you still don't have anything here because everything is in its assets folder. Now, depending on how your creator did the avatar, you'll have to see which folder it's in. Fortunately, the Vulper is very clean. Open folder project. And you're gonna see other folders here. You also have these icons here are scene files or scene asset. You also have prefabs. Let's expand this out. Vulper, no texture, place for your own materials, prefab asset. And then there's also the quest version. I'm going to use a scene file. If your avatar comes with the scene file, it's best to use a scene file because everything's pre-built. Otherwise, use a prefab. And if it doesn't include either of those, and it only has, let's just say, an FBX, for example, this is an FBX file, you have to add all the different items like fizz bones and stuff like that. But that'll be demonstrated in another tutorial. But for now, we are going to grab the scene file. We are going to grab the Ice Vulper 2.0 and drag that in there. And there we go. We drag this right into our hierarchy window here. So anything in your hierarchy is items that are going to be displayed in your scene or your game. To navigate your scene, you can press Alt and left click, which applies when you move your mouse, you can rotate. Also, scroll wheel allows you to zoom in. And then if you middle mouse, you can drag the scene and you can move it around accordingly. But again, that is the Alt button while doing all this. In this scene file, we have 4 different versions of the Vulper. We have the quest model, which is here. We have the light model, which is over here. We have fantasy, and we have the default husky. We're going to work with the fantasy one. So we are just going to control select the ones we don't want, push the delete button. And now all we have is the fantasy version. Now, in Unity, the terminology for all this stuff, this fantasy right here is called a parent. Everything within it is called a child of the parent. So for example, your armature is a child of the fantasy object. The back main is also a child of the fantasy object. Body, eyes, and avatar. If they have an arrow, that means it has children underneath it. So for example, the hips are a child of the armature. So that's just some of the terminology in your hierarchy. What we're going to grab is the body. Okay? In your body, in your inspector window, which by default is going to be on the right hand side, you're going to see your skinned, well, your transform, which is the position that's in the world space, your skinned mesh renderer, which is the mesh of your object. If your mesh has any blend shapes, and then you also have your materials. And for example, this one, we have 4 materials, which is the body, fur, avatar credit, and the haircut. We are going to grab our body shader. And since this came with Pyomi, it wants us to unlock it. But since this is version 9.1.7, the version that came with the model itself, I'm going to update this to the new version that I have. So I'm going to click the little box called shader. I'm going to select Pyomi, and I'm going to select Pyomi Pro because that is the shader I use. Do this accordingly to whichever shader you want to use. Now it's updated to version 9.2.6, which is the newest version at this time. What I'm going to do is the shading tricks that I like to use for my avatars. I'm not going to change the textures at this very second, but I'm going to reshade this avatar. So I'm going to scroll down again under the body material. It is currently unlocked. And then I'm going to go to the shading section. We have light data. On this particular model, it has an AO map, artificial occlusion. And then I'm looking for this shading one. I want to make certain that it's turned on. Currently, it is using its own default wrapped shading. I personally like my wrap settings that I like to use. So I'm going to reset this. I'm going to switch the lighting type from flat to wrapped. And I'm going to put the wrap setting of 0.69. It lightens it up a little bit. It does apply some shadows to it. This is my personal preference. You can drag these settings and see what you like, but this is what I normally use. There is what's called texture ramps, which if I switch to it, you'll see what it does to the avatar. But your shading is how your light reacts to your model. So obviously you just see that I just went completely dark because that side's in the shadow. There's multiplayer math. There's also skin, shade map, flat, realistic, cloth, and SDF. Realistic is really, really aggressive with its shadows, which is something I don't recommend. You could play with it and you might get really good results. In Unity, it looks fine, but when you upload it in VRChat, depending on the world lighting of the world that you're in, oftentimes you will become nearly pitch black. But again, we're going to use the wrap settings that I like to use. Another shading trick that I have discovered that I like to use is a matte cap on the whole entire avatar. So we're going to turn on matcap 0. And you're going to see that the whole avatar is going to go white here because we haven't changed any settings. And this is okay. We're going to apply a base color mix of 0.456. Again, that is 0.456. We're going to remove the replace. And we're going to add a multiply of 0.621. 6 hours of sleep, 2 meals a day, and 1 shower a day. And then under color, you have an empty box that says matcap. If you click the little circle next to the matcap text, this window will pop up. Since I'm using Pyomi, if I type in matte, all the matte caps that exist in Pyomi will show up. And there's this particular one that is white and kind of like a matte color. We're going to grab that and apply it. On every material on all of my avatars, including the clothing, any assets, these two shading settings, the shading and the matte cap, are the first things that I change. And I apply these on all of them so that the whole avatar has the same shading and shadows on all of it. Now that that is done, depending on what your avatar comes with, you could have emission masks. What a mask is if I go down to emission, which is under special effects, and I click this file, this right here is an emission mask. It is a black and white image. So anything that is white will apply the effect that's on there. So for example, if you wanted a red emission on this, you would apply this mask, you change the color to red, and everything that is white will change to red. Everything that is black is completely ignored. That is what's called a black mask. So for example, we select body, and I scroll down, and I've got the emission mask here on, and the color is red here. If I apply the emission strength, and I'm also going to turn off color adjust because this is by default, you will now see that all the emissions just turned to red. Now I didn't apply this to the tail, or the main, just because we haven't adjusted that material. This is just on the main body, which is the head, the ears, the arms, the main chest, torso, hips, legs, feet. That is the material on that object. And it all depends on how your avatar is structured. But for now, we are just going to turn off the emission layers. So emission 0, emission 1, 2, and 3. And there, we have completely removed all the emissions on the main body. We're going to repeat these settings for the hair, the fur, and the tail, which I believe is part of the fur. Yes, and then the back mane. So we'll go to the back mane, we'll open this up. Again, we'll update this to the newest version of Pyomi by clicking on the shader box, Pyomi Pro, switch to 9.26. We're going to go to our shading settings. We're going to reset, apply wrapped. The wrap number is 0.69. Again, I know that's a funny number, but that setting just works. All right, for my personal taste, I'm going to apply a matte cap, base color emission of 0.456. Remove the replace, add 0.621 to the multiply. Click the little icon next to the text for matte cap, type in matte, and select this white matte cap here. You can also click the 3 dots for matte cap 0 right on the corner here, and you can copy these, and we can apply these to the rest of the materials as well. We're going to remove the emissions, and this is just for demonstration purposes. And then we're going to go back to body. We're going to scroll back up. We're going to hide this body material since we've already adjusted it. We'll go to haircut, expand that out. Again, Pyomi Pro. It's updated to the newest version. Shading, again, reset. Wrapped, wrap setting 0.69. Toggle on matcap 0, and we can now paste the matcap settings we had copied earlier. Or you can do it manually by default. And does this have any emission layers? It does not. No emissions. We're going to do this to the next material. I'm not going to worry about the avatar credit. I believe the back mane on this model uses the same fur material, so we do not have to adjust the fur material here since they're sharing the same material. But again, this is different based upon the avatar you're working with. So depending on the object, it may have different materials. We're going to select the eyes. We're going to go just the eyes material, not the eye gloss. We'll update this again to Pyomi Pro. 9.26. Go to shading, reset, wrapped 0.69. And we're going to paste the matte cap settings in matte cap 0. Now your model could come with a default matte cap. So whichever one is empty is what you're going to paste these settings into. And there we have it. We have updated all the shading of the model. To swap out the texture, let's just say I want to change the eye color. I'm going to select this texture file right here. It's going to bring up this folder in my asset window. Again, mine is shown here. Yours might be down here. We're going to go back to textures. We're going to go, let's see here. We'll grab these ones. So our current eyes are pink. We're going to switch into blue. So now I found that texture in this folder. I'm going to reselect eyes in the hierarchy. I'm going to drag this image right into the texture slot, the eyes material. And now the eyes have changed to blue. If you have custom textures, you can always drag them into, you can create your own, I would recommend creating your own folder. We're just going to call this Vaki for now. Open that folder up, and you can drag image files from your file explorer and put it right in there. And for an example being, we'll do the eye textures that I use. So you'll drop this in here, and you can drag an entire folder, and everything in that folder will come into your asset window. So I dragged my file called eyes. Open this up. Going to reselect the eyes. The eye color, I'm going to grab right into the texture slot. I have a normal map for my eyes. I'm going to apply that. If you get a box that says this texture is marked as a normal map or is not marked, and it comes with Fix Now, always click the Fix Now. And then what else we're going to do is we're going to apply another matcap. And I have 3 different masks files. Get this one, and this one. Now again, whatever is white is what it's going to change. Whatever is black is going to be ignored. So I'm going to want this one here. So again, we'll grab the eyes. We'll scroll down. We're going to apply mask 2 right into the mask object of the matcap 1. We're going to click Fix Now. And then I'm going to grab this color map, and I'm going to put it right into this matcap. And then I'm going to bump up the emission strength by 1.22. I'm going to apply a multiply. And now it applied this color to it. If you change the color here, you can kind of hue shift it. So for example, let's just do, maybe throw pink, it kind of turns the eyes red. The darker the color, the less it's going to apply. And the lighter the color, the more it's going to apply. You can get the same effect with intensity. And if you do not want emission, you could turn it off and you can apply more intensity strength to brighten it up. But emission will light it up. So if you're in a dark setting, your eyes will kind of pop. I normally apply an emission to my eyes just because I feel like it pops more on the avatar. But you don't want it a crazy amount. So like 1.22 usually works for me. Usually the highest I go, depending on the color map material. For example, I'm using this color map. The highest I've gone is 10. The highest setting you can actually put on there is 20. But it really depends on your settings. Where'd it go? We're working at eyes. What also we're going to add is we're going to add reflections. So I'm going to go just under the shading section, reflections and specular. We're going to turn that on. We're going to grab mask 1 or put it in the packed maps. We'll apply Fix Now. And then we're going to turn the metallic all the way up. You won't really see it here, but it does apply, like in a VRChat world, you'll kind of see a reflection on the eyes. And for now, I'm just going to turn that off. Now, that's a matcap setting and reflection settings. You also have what's called rim lighting to give you a demonstration of what that does. I'll turn it on. We'll switch the color to green, make it pop out. And you can kind of see on the edges, and depending on the angle, you'll see that green pop up. You can play with these settings to see if you can find the result you're looking for, but that is rim lighting. You can apply masks to it, so it will only apply it to the sections in white. for now, we're just going to remove it and delete it. So that is rim lighting. You can apply clear coat. Normally that's used for like leather or something like a really shiny material. I don't apply it on my eyes. You also have environmental rim, which will apply like the environmental lighting as a rim lighting. And then you also have special effects. We're going to grab mask 2. We're going to apply it in the mask section. And then we're going to grab a blue color and we'll bump up the emissions. That's kind of this like greenish color. I don't really like that. So let's change it. Apply as purple. I'm gonna uncheck base colors. Oh, that's kind of interesting. What if I did override base colors? We're going to turn off the color adjust because that was default on. And change the color. Ooh, that's actually kind of cool. So yeah, you can combine different stuff. You can achieve different results. But it's just all settings you can play with. You can apply glitter with the glitter sparkle section. I'll wait for it to load here. There we go. You can now see all the little glitter effects. I've done... So you've got shapes, circle or square, and you can also apply your own shapes. So if I go grab, I have a stars. I'll grab that one, and I have another one I could use instead. We'll also grab this heart one. So the shape texture, I put this heart mask in the shape texture. All the glitter now changes to those hearts. Sometimes the square is a little bit better when you load something in here. We're going to increase the amount of layers. We're actually going to, oops. My mouse decided to double click. We're going to apply this color map right on there, which will change the color of the glitter. This is, you know what? We'll use the base colors all the way up. Apply random colors. Oh, that's kind of neat. We'll increase the density, the glitter density. So 300. Let's see what 3000 does. That made it smaller. You can kind of see it in there. So let's make it 30. And now they're much bigger. But we're going to go to 100. And then I'm also going to remove the base color. Just apply it on top of all the eyes. So the hearts are upside down. If we go to shape texture, we hit the little arrow. Oh, look at that. Well, where'd they change this? Let's see if we can find the rotation value. Rotations. Interesting. I don't think this is going to... That applies a rotation. Applies random rotations. For now, we're just gonna swap the hearts out with the stars. And then we're gonna adjust the settings accordingly. So 10. And then I'm going to change the glitter size. There. For now, I'm also going to remove this color. And I'm going to turn this to a dark purple. But that is essentially how the glitter works. You can play with these settings, see what happens. And if anything, if it's too extreme and you want to start all over with your glitter, you can always click the 3 dots and hit reset. And that's for any shader setting in Pyomi. But yeah, there's all sorts of different stuff you can play with. But for now, that's going to be the demonstration for today's video. Some avatars have an eyeglass or a lens. I'm just going to update this to Pyomi Pro. Some of my avatars, I will remove this entirely. And some of them I will use. It really depends on your personal preference. But typically, you're going to get a reflection on your lens. So it'll reflect the world around you. But sometimes it's too much, and I will just pretty much take it off. And you can use the alpha cutout. So you can kind of see this little line right here is the world space in the background. Apply the alpha cutoff. It'll remove it entirely. So depending on the effect that you're looking for, you can play with that. For now, we're just going to leave it there. But you can adjust all these settings. You can apply matcaps, rim lighting, emissions on all of your avatars if that's your thing, or by default, swap your textures over and apply them. And then these are the shading settings that I use. And then that is your materials, textures, and shading settings. So next, what we're going to demonstrate is, let's just say you want to add something to your avatar. So down below, there's a link for a money object that you can place in your avatar made by Pointless. We're going to drag this Unity project file. We're going to put it in our assets. And we're going to click import. And I'm going to show you how you can install items to your avatar. So I created a folder called Pointless. This folder is linked to Gumroad, which again is in the description down below. We're going to do the money spread. This is an FX animator controller, VRC expressions menu, and parameters. Don't have to worry about that. The rest of these are just folder icons. What we have is a prefab. So very fortunately that Pointless Creations has created this with the prefab where it's just drag and drop. So we're going to grab the prefab, we're going to go to our hierarchy, and we're going to highlight our fantasy. See, this is the parent of everything in it, the parent of our avatar. And we're just going to drag it right on top of that. What that did is it applied it as a child of our fantasy object. And now it's in the world space. So this, fortunately, lined up really, really nicely on the Vulpur. But let's just say the height didn't match your avatar. If you select that money spread object, you will get this gizmo right here. And if you drag the green arrow, it'll only move up and down. If you drag the blue arrow, it'll move forward and backwards. And if you grab the red arrow, you can move it side to side. Let's just say you wanted to rescale it. So you have tools right here. So this is the movement tool. You have a rotate tool. You have a scale tool. You have a rect tool. I don't typically use this. And then you have a transform tool, which actually does all of the above. But I'm just going to grab the scale. And we're just going to scale this up. And you can scale it down. And so forth. For now, just do Control Z. And I'm going to do Control Z on all these movements. And there we have the file. However, I think it needs to be moved a little bit back. So we're gonna grab a remove tool, slide it just slightly back. Now, so with the money spread highlighted, over in our inspector window, you can see all the script files for it. Since it is using VRC Fury, it is grabbing your effects menu, merging it in with your effects menu of your avatar. That is what the full controller is doing. It's linking the expression menu, which is kind of your radial wheels and all your toggles and all the parameters. You have armature link, which will link the objects to your avatar. So for example, this is linking the money spread. If we open this up, you have your left hand and right hand is linking the left hand to the left hand of your model. And it's also doing the same for the right hand. It is also doing a setting called apply during upload. It is turning on the money spread, left hand money, right hand money, monies, and monies. Actually, no. It is turning on the money spread and turning off left hand, right hand, monies, monies. And then what we'll do is we're going to test this inside Unity to make certain it is linked to the correct location that we want it to be. If you have Gesture Manager installed, you can go to Tools, up in the top bar, Gesture Manager Emulator, just left click on that. This will pop up, and in your inspector window, you can enter play mode. So we'll click enter play mode. This will take a minute. We're going to use yes, recommended. By default, when you go into play mode, you'll see the blue icon highlighted up here. It'll switch to the game scene tab in your window. We're going to switch to scene. That way we can move around. And as long as Gesture Manager over here in your hierarchy window is highlighted, the radial wheel will open up here. You can also apply gestures inside here as well. And this is exactly how your avatar will work in VRChat. So for now, we're just going to go to expressions. We're going to toggle the money spread. And it is not showing up. Let's apply a gesture, see if it's gesture based. So based on the victory, which is the peace sign, it applied the money spread. Do rock and roll, see if that changes anything. Gun, thumbs up, fist. And we did finger point. So finger point closes it, puts it away, and the peace sign opens it up. That is how that object works. We will toggle that off for now. You can also test other toggles on your avatar for examples. Apply the credits. The credits appear on the avatar. We can change the colors. So we do body main. It has a hue animation on it. And by all means, this is default on the avatar. I did remove emissions, so these are not going to work. They did come with audio link, but I removed the emissions on the textures, on the materials. We're going to go to body. It has a swap textures functionality. And we're going to leave that off. Your body type, it has blend shapes for the avatar. We've got tail settings. There's a tail wag function. And this will, in play mode, will test animations. And then there's eyelash toggle, hand smaller. And these have also different types of crotches, female or male. And you toggle fluff on and off, mane, back, and hair. Just in that menu here. To exit play mode, all you have to do is click the play button. And you'll go right out of play mode. So your play mode is how you test your avatar. Everything else that you want to do is going to be outside of play mode. So if you want to put more things on your avatar, You want to change your materials, stuff like that. You want to make certain you're out of play mode. For now, we're just going to leave this as is. And let's just say we were done with the avatar and we wanted to upload it. Right up top here, you'll have VRChat SDK, show control panel. This will come up. You'll need to log in. For demonstration purposes, I won't show what's going to be on here. So once you are logged in and you received the verification code in your email, you are now logged into your Creator Companion VRChat SDK. We'll go over to the Builder tab. You will give your avatar a name. Test example. I'm not going to put anything in the description. You can do so if you want to. Since I'm not going to have this as a public avatar, I'm going to ignore the content warnings. Again, I'm making certain this is private because this is only going to be my avatar. You need to either select a thumbnail, which you can upload your own custom image to, or we can capture from the scene. For example, we'll do capture. And then click the capture button again. And then down below here is the validations. If it has something that says autofix, I recommend selecting autofix on anything that appears. You got these exclamation points here. You can ignore these. You don't have to worry about it. And then this is the performance data of the model itself. Since this is red, this is going to be considered very poor for performance for VRChat. This is not an optimized avatar at the moment. It has too many skin mesh renderers, too many fizzbone components, too many fizzbone transform counts, too many particles, too many mesh particles, has too many material slots, fizzbone colliders, bones, and texture memory. There are ways to optimize your avatar. At some point later in the future, I will have demonstrations for those. But by default, this is very poor. Now, this will still upload with everything as very poor. If it will not, you will get a object in your online publishing after you complete the checkbox, and it will not allow you to build and publish because it is too heavy. Something in here is just way too far out of the limits of VRChat, and it will not allow you to upload. Red is very poor. These items red with the exclamation point is very poor. Red without the exclamation point is poor. Then you have orange or yellow for medium. You have green for good ranked. And then blue is excellent rating. If you're uploading an avatar that has an excellent rating, oh my goodness gracious. Kudos to you. Kudos to you. I have only, the best I've done is good. And I've done some mediums. But typically, a lot of mine are very poor or poor. We have this avatar uses textures with box min-map filtering, which blurs distant textures. Switch to Kaiser for improved sharpness. Since it has an autofix, we're going to click that. It's going to change the settings on the model itself. And there we go. Nothing says autofix. We have checked the box for online publishing, and we will build and publish. And voila. Thanks to editing, we have skipped the long process of uploading your avatar. Based on your performance of your computer and your internet provider, will depend on the speed that it uploads. We are going to wait for the progress to complete here, and then you can launch VRChat, and it will be in your uploads in your avatar selection. And that is how to upload an avatar. Upload succeeded. Congratulations, you have now uploaded an avatar for VRChat.